What's happening, everybody? This is What You Need in the Building, and we're going to talk about the weekend fights, what happened over this weekend in terms of known fights. So we had King Tug, also known as Tug Stun, Naya Bayar, Nayam, Nayam Bayar, I think that's how it's said, Nayam Bayar, or something like that. I think it's Nayam Bayar, versus Kobia Breedy, or so F.A. Jabba. He was in the undercard of Pedroza versus Molina, and he faced Jonathan Rice. And then we had Erickson Lubin, who faced Tara Gusha. So we're going to look at that. Tugstun Naya Bayar, King Tug versus Kobia Breedy was the undercard of Erickson Lubin versus Tara Gusha. So we're going to talk about all those fights. Real quick, try and wrap it up. I'm What You Need. You watch my channel. If you like this video, don't forget you can share, subscribe, comment, as well as you can donate by Western Union MoneyGram. Let's get it. So let's start off first with F.A. Ajaba versus Jonathan Rice. That was a unanimous decision win for F.A. Ajaba. Basically won every single round, but Jonathan Rice, whenever he did mount his offense, did very well. You know, you snap back, slip, use the jab, lead with either hand, right hand or left hand leads. He was tricky when he was tricky. F.A. Jabba kept on working the body with the jab, working the head, the body, mix it up a little bit. Kept his head on center line quite a lot, so he got tagged with right hands. Anytime, basically, Rice threw a right hand, it landed. But he was wearing down Rice with a lot of really nice, solid jabs to the body. And once or twice, he attacked the body with hooks. But for the most part, his right hand was the key, even though Rice had pretty good defense. So at the end of the day, F.A. Jabba wins this fight, but he has a lot of still work to do in terms of keeping his head off center line and just working on different other aspects of his game. But he performed relatively well. Some people were saying disappointing. Timothy Bradley on ESPN, but I don't think so. They were just being very hard on him. I think he did quite well in his fight. And on ESPN, the feature bout of the evening was Jose Pedraza versus Javier Molina, and Jose Pedraza did everything but knock out or drop Javier Molina. Javier Molina coming back from drug use and all of that, being a promising Olympian and so on. F.A. Jose Pedraza did what Jose Pedraza does, went southpaw, orthodox, had the irregular movement that we talk about, the rhythm. So it's hard to time him. Sometimes he had excessive movement on the outside. He usually does that, switches stances or, feints. But some of those feints, he's basically throwaway feints. He could have just gone in, did what he had to do. But at the end of the day, he really put a beating on Javier Molina, busted up his eye. He had a couple of headbutts in the fight as well. And so he recently shaved his head. Do I think like Timothy Bradley and those guys that he's going to be a problem for the guys at 140? No. I think that he's good, but he has some unique things like most Puerto Rican fighters that he brings to the table. But I don't think he is on the level of those higher tier 140 pounders. Those 140 pounders, man, they're elite kind of guys. Pedraza is good, but I think and very experienced and good, but I think he's not on that level with those guys. I'm sorry about that. With respect to King Tug versus Kobia Breedy, Kobia Breedy really was impressive. Kobia Breedy was very impressive. In fact, I had the fight at the end of the fight. It was a close fight because even though Tugstun dropped Breedy in the first round and also in the second round, he dropped him twice, so he had a big head start, 4-point head start on Breedy just came back, man. Breedy just the jab, leading off the right hand. He boxed the socks off of Tugstun. I gotta say, King Tug is kind of one-dimensional. Sometimes he keeps his head on the center line, so he gets tagged. You push him back. He doesn't really have a whole lot of offense. He still boxes off the back foot, but he doesn't have a whole lot of offense. It's like you can neutralize him. Like Timothy, somebody was saying that. No, it was I think Timothy Bradley was talking about Rice. You can isolate your opponent. What I mean by that is A basic way of putting it is you freeze them up. They're not sure what to make of you. And you can see King Tug walking him down, starting to progress, trying to put his combinations together. But man, I mean, I gotta admit that you know, Kobe Brady fought his ass off. He was like a dog at certain points. He boxed you on the back foot. He boxed you on the front foot. Now, it was a split decision win for King Tug, but really, honestly, I thought it should have given Brady, because he fought the fight of his life, he should have gotten either a draw or he should have won the fight. That's my personal opinion, but of course, it was not a robbery because it was a close fight because of the two knockdowns early on in the fight. So, the judge that scored it 114, 113 for King Tug, I mean, it was a reasonable scorecard. They had to swing in one way or the other. But I do think that Kubia Breedy did enough to win that fight or to get a draw. He came from way behind. King Tug won like what? Maybe 5 rounds, maybe 4 rounds. Okay. 4 or 5 rounds. But that's why, it could have been a draw or it could have been swung in the direction of Breedy. I think Brady did a hell of a lot. He took a lot of rounds, and easily you could give him 7 or 8 rounds easily. You know what I'm saying? It depends on what you're looking at, but at the end of the day, King Tug managed to pull through on this fight, and hopefully it's a learning experience for him to go back to the drawing board and revise his game. And finally, the final fight of the evening was Erickson Lubin versus Terrell Gusha, and this was again Showtime. This was the main event. And in this fight, the guys had supreme defense. These guys had great defense. And not the offense was neutralized by both of them, right? Now, the thing about it was, though, Erickson Lubin was walking down Terrell Gusha for most of the fight. Terrell Gusha was on the back foot. However, in round number 10, Terrell Gusha caught Erickson Lubin as he was trying to come into clinch. Or in the clinch, actually, he caught him with 2 really good shots. So it was a right hand, left hook combination, a right hook, left hook combination that hit him on the temple and stunned him. And for a moment, Erickson Lubin didn't have his equilibrium and stuff, and he was just trying to clinch up and stuff. Did the right thing, and got the cobwebs out, and that was it for round 10. And of course, Terrell Gusha tried to throw the kitchen sink at him, but he had decent defense to block off all that stuff and get it rectified. And then in the 12th round, Erickson Lubin hurt Terrell Gusha. He really hurt him really bad. And if there was more time, he probably would have hurt him even more. But again, Terrell Gusha did the right thing, clinched up. He had a good defense and so on. This fight was a pretty even fight. I thought, it wasn't even. Let me put it this way. Erickson Lubin was the guy that was more of the aggressor. So when both guys are not really landing much of anything, Terrell Gusha, he couldn't find his range. He didn't know what to do with the right hand to shoot it. You could see it was more of a battle of the jabs. Erickson Lubin was the one that was getting foot position, dominant foot position, landing the left when he could, because both guys really had good defense. The thing about it was that Erickson Lubin was the guy pushing Terrell Gusha back for most of the fight. So I understood why Erickson Lubin won that fight. But it was a pretty closely contested fight. Now, even though Erickson Lubin got a unanimous decision win over Terrell Gusha, I got to say that Erickson Lubin, it was more of a boxing thing. And there were moments when both guys had it. So it's not like it was a decisive win. Even though it was a unanimous decision win for one guy, it was just simply because one guy was walking down the other guy, or at least it looked that way. And Erickson Lubin, because I guess he had more experience fighting orthodox fighters than Terrell Gusha did fighting southpaw, because Terrell Gusha had difficulty getting to Erickson Lubin and landing his shots that he wanted to, especially the lead right hand. He didn't know exactly how to do that. But it was a good, nicely contested fight. Terrell Gusha should not be disappointed that he lost. And that leads me to another discussion I'm going to do in another live stream. But first, let me get out of here. I'm what you need. If you guys have anything to say on these fights, you can talk about them right now. And I'm going to come back to you guys with more. Now, I wasn't able to see the Jaron Ennis versus, what was the kid's name? I forgot what the other kid's name was. I didn't get to see that fight. I know he stopped him. But what I would say is that Jaron Ennis, stepped up. He's got better competition. So it's about time you throw him in the mix with the top 10 guys out there and see how he manages himself against the top 10 fighters. Maybe a fight or two if he wants to take his time, But I want to talk about some other things. concerning boxing. So I'm going to do that in the next live stream. So you guys just tune in. If you guys not popping in to this live stream, just wait for a couple seconds. I'm gonna come up with another live stream. Okay, this was just a breakdown of weekend fights. You guys have anything else to say? Anybody wants to say anything? Say it now or forever hold your peace. In 5, 4, 3, 2. You guys have a good one. I'm back in the next video.